Hi Leo, this is your forecast for the month of February 2019. This is a general reading for Leo Sun, Leo Rising, or Leo Moon. For a more rounded overview, please watch your rising and moon sign as well. So Leo, this first week, you're in defense mode. You are trying to gain an advantage in some way. You may be dealing with some type of struggle, and maybe you feel as if you're under attack or you're trying to make something happen. This is a week where you may need to stand up for yourself, or you're trying to beat the odds of a situation. There's some kind of obstacle or challenge that has to be overcome, and it may require that you take a risk. So for some of you, you're having to adapt to changing circumstances. You're not on sure footing. And unless you can be flexible, you may have to continue with upsetting circumstances. This is a week where it's a mixed bag of opportunity and challenges and karmic situations. And so whatever it is, whatever goal, no matter how great or small, you're going to have to put in a lot of effort. You're going to have to be persistent. In some cases, the demand will be that people are seeking you out. They want your advice, they want your assistance, your know-how. And because of that, you're going to have to make some changes. You're going to have to rearrange your schedule, your agenda, or reconsider your position. But whatever is taking place, there is the possibility for you to make some beneficial changes in your relationship. Something is going to come to a head, and right now you may be in a position of advantage, but you have to play your cards right so that you can stay at the top. So you have to know what you're doing. You have to have a sense of purpose. And it may center around trust, getting support from others, feeling as if you're protected, believing in yourself, or recognizing where you may be vulnerable. This is a week where you may be trying to wield your influence. Perhaps you're in charge of others, or you have influence over others. You're trying to rally them to your side. And so your communication skills, your tact, your diplomacy is critical, because you're going to have to do whatever you're trying to do in such a way that others don't feel threatened, that they feel compelled to follow the course of action that you want them to. So if they're not doing what you think they should, or they've made some mistakes, you're going to have to inspire them to do better without them feeling as if you're criticizing them. By the same token, you may feel as if you're doing a dance, and no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, you're not able to please. And you may end up feeling like you're a victim. But really, at the root of everything is probably your attitude. Your unhappiness is caused by staying stuck with a particular position. And so you may be frustrated, and you may be venting that frustration in the wrong place. So this is a week where you may have to reconsider your position. Maybe you're dealing with something that seems overwhelming, and you feel like you want to give up. You don't have the nerve. Maybe it results in some kind of embarrassment for you, or there's some uncertainty. Maybe you've decided that you don't want to fight. You're being very careful, and you are retreating from some kind of confrontation. Maybe you recognize your vulnerability and that you're at a disadvantage and you can't push your agenda. But you have to be careful that you're also not running away from your problems. You may be basing your decisions because you have some kind of anxiety or fear of rejection, fear about the future, that causes you to miss out on an opportunity. So the more adaptable you are this week, the more chance you stand to gain with something. Now, the second week, you have a major card. And so for some of you, this is about taking some kind of risk, taking a gamble. You may be trying to gain an advantage through money or travel or speculation of some sort. And you may just turn out to be a winner. There could be a change for the better where you gain an advantage. There's some good luck, some opportunity that presents. This is a week that could foresee some important developments for you. Some improvements could take place, and they could take place rather quickly. And it feels as if something is beyond you, that it's fated, it's destiny. And so there could be some lucky break that you get where you're at the end of a situation and entering a new phase. So your perspective about something is the way to greet this success. Your attitude is everything. It's going to create the karma that you endure. This is a card that says there's some changes taking place based on your attitude, your behavior, your speech. And something that was hanging in the balance is going to immediately change and move in another direction. That means if you were dealing with some kind of financial dilemma, that you're drawing on your emotional strength to become more resourceful to solve that problem. Or if you had an emotional issue that required you to invest in it financially, you're going to be willing to do that. And you're also looking at how something can change at a moment's notice. The wrong choice could prove to be the right choice. So this is a week to go above and beyond, to take on more than your fair share. And it may be easier for you to take charge and make some changes that are going to make a difference. Because this is a week where you are seeking harmony. You want some things to fall into place. And perhaps you're making some important decisions. You want to end a struggle of some sort because you're seeking harmony and peace. And things may turn out better than you expected, especially if you're using your personal strengths, your talents, your know-how. You're going to be able to overcome whatever that challenge is in that Seven of Wands, and you're going to be able to win. But it's important that you continue to have the confidence in yourself and what life has on offer, so that you don't close off to new opportunities just because something didn't go the right way, or in your mind the right way in the past. There could be some luck taking place for you that you don't even see, that you don't even recognize. It could be a very small thing that you don't take notice of that's working for you. So if something plays out in a different manner than you had expected, know that the universe is working to support you. You have to be open, though, for suggestions, for perhaps even constructive criticism, so that you can make some improvements. This is a week where your confidence is going to be tested. For some of you, maybe you meet with failure or some bad luck or some unexpected situations. There's some kind of disappointment, or you feel like you're in a rut or a dead end or out of sync with others. But you have to maintain that faith. There is a danger for you this week of either expecting too much or too little. So you're going to have to find the right mark to get that harmony. And again, taking that fresh perspective is going to be the ticket to your success. There's a greater propensity for, again, your expectations to be off this week. Now, the third week, you have another major card. So the middle of this week the middle of this month is very important for you. These are major cards. For some of you, this is a tie to a Taurus person. For others of you, this is about the establishment. It could be commitments. It could be ceremonies. It could be entities like corporations or banks or churches. This is a week that focuses on expectations, following the rules, following the guidelines, doing what we consider appropriate, not going against the grain. And so those are the issues that you're faced with, whether to conform or whether to go outside of the line, whether to be traditional or to strike your own path and be original. So for some of you, this is about doing what's expected, following conventional advice. You may be getting some kind of professional advice from others. You may be focused on some kind of code of behavior. And so this is a time period that can be very productive for you, where you can gain an advantage, where you can make a lot of strides, get a lot done. or it can produce some serious repercussions for you. This is going to be a week where things kick up a notch, whether in your family life, your love life, your professional life, or all of the above. Things are going to be more exciting, but also more challenging, more demanding. And you're going to have to be very savvy in your choices, and wise in who you choose as a lover, an associate, because this card can say that there's something on the horizon, some kind of drama, some kind of scandal that may be centered around an unkind accusation, a rumor, gossip that may or may not involve you. You may simply be party to it, and yet it may be very difficult for you to extricate yourself from a situation. There's some kind of transformation. There's the opportunity for change, perhaps to follow a dream or to go against the grain and embrace a new self-identity. There could be a need for change where perhaps you've been excessively conforming to the demands of others. This is a week where it's easy if you compromise, if you try to relate to the other person's vantage point. And when you do that, you may strengthen your relationships, or you may decide, given what you've observed, that you want to streamline some of those connections. For others of you, this could be a disappointing week where you feel cheated and discouraged because an outcome failed to meet your expectations, because somebody has been inconsistent in their behavior, their communication, and perhaps that's someone you're dealing with, or maybe it's you, and somehow it reflects poorly on the reputation. It could be that money issues are an ongoing source of constant concern. You will have to be careful, especially with the wheel right next to this card, of being reckless and participating in dangerous behavior without even realizing it. So this is a week for you to check again, double check the facts before you make any decisions and move any further. Your emotions are at play, and your attraction to someone or your irritation with someone may drive you to make decisions where you convince yourself that the ends justifies the means. Now, the Six of Swords says that you may be moving on from a situation or creating some beneficial changes. This may actually tie to travel, or traveling over water, or coming out of a period of suffering, or dealing with people at a distance. So some of you, there's been a change in a commitment that maybe leaves you with some blues, or you want to leave a negative situation, or maybe you decide you're going to make a commitment to go abroad. Maybe you're taking a holiday trip, or you're relocating, or you're simply standing back and deciding that you're going to go with the flow. You're going to see how things play out. You're going to change your attitude about something. Again, some of you may decide that you want to sever some ties. That's your way of moving away from stress and problems. Others of you will decide to reconcile, and there's the release of tension and some brighter days because of it. Whatever it is, you are revisiting a situation, either personally, professionally, legally, or medically. There's a sense of going in circles and a feeling that you're back at square one. And you're trying to get to the other side. You're still moving through some choppy waters. You know where you want to go. You can see the better position in the distance, but you're still dealing with some problems. And part of that is working on understanding yourself better and understanding others. And it requires you to be patient and to be courageous. Again, you may need to take a calculated risk. Some of you, if this is connected to travel, you may be revisiting a place from your past, or you may have to take an unexpected trip. So you are trying to broaden yourself, either physically, mentally, intellectually, emotionally, and you're going to experience something that opens your mind, perhaps in a different way than you expected, and not necessarily in the time frame that you expected. But you are receptive, you're open to opportunity, and you're listening to your intuition about how to move in a new direction. Now, last week it was difficult for you to remove yourself from sticky situations, but this week you've gained some understanding, and it's easier for you to get away from things that are pointless or harmful habits that limit your personal progress and that keep you from connecting to the commitments that you want. So for some of you, somebody that you enjoy or a situation that is fortunate may suddenly appear in your life. But this is also a week where your strength of character is going to be tested. For some of you, someone or something may disappoint you. And this isn't the first time that it's happened. So something that you thought was resolved, something in a relationship, a circumstance, a medical issue, a legal issue, you thought it was cleared up and, put to rest, and it's going to make an unexpected and an unwelcome reappearance. Others of you are going to realize that you've become vulnerable to the wrong influence. Maybe you've taken some bad advice, or you've made the wrong decision, and you're going to have to start over in a situation. So this is a week where you're looking at where you've been wasting too much time, energy, or effort believing strongly in the wrong person or circumstance, something that's not right for you. And if you don't get clear on it, you could end up running after an illusion and repeating some mistakes. Now, what's driving everything is this Ace of Swords. Getting to the truth, gaining some clarity about something. For some of you, this may be a legal situation. For others of you, this could be dealing with somebody who's dominating. Or perhaps you're dealing with a medical specialist. You have medical issues. Or somebody who is exploiting. Or they're on the other end of the spectrum. They're a victim. Positively, this is the sword of truth. It's gaining clarity. You may have some brilliant ideas about how to create some beneficial change. There could be justice showing up for you in a situation. You may be inspired. You may have a lot of ideas or thoughts, and you're putting your mental force behind something. You're using your intellect to give yourself greater freedom. You're applying your will, and you're very determined. So for some of you, you're involved in connections where there's some stimulating conversation. You're being introduced to some new concepts, some new ideas. You're changing the way you communicate for the better. And you're thinking about your relationships with other people in new and different ways. And so you're entering this new cycle where you learn more about yourself, your connection to others. You may feel personally empowered in some way. You may be trying to push your agenda. You could be gaining clarity on something. You have to make sure, though, that you're actually taking some action, because it's not unusual for when this card shows up that either you or the other person is waiting to make the choice. You're waiting for the other person to make the decision, the other person to make the first move. This is also a time where you do have greater clarity. You can see what's missing in your relationship. You can identify the holes, the things that need to be improved. And this is a period where there's the possibility of you winning or losing more than you expect. Now, for some of you, again, this is about taking off. It's about starting a journey of some sort. Emotionally, physically, intellectually, you're seeking new horizons. You want greater freedom. On the other hand, it could be about running away. For some of you, there's going to be a breakdown in communication. And maybe there's some withholding of affection, or maybe somebody is mean-spirited and they're sarcastic or sharp-tongued. And there could be involvement in a relationship where the dynamic is winning at all costs, winning where the other person has to lose. Or you overanalyze a situation to the point where you feel a lot of stress. Maybe you are mentally stagnating right now, or you're experiencing some emotional anxiety. So for some of you, maybe there's some kind of problem that you're dealing with where, somebody has been misrepresenting themselves, or you've misinterpreted something. That is going to be revealed. hopefully you're going to be willing to take that first step to clear the air and to let somebody know how you feel. And when you have this discourse, you will end up knowing where each of you stand in the other's estimation, and that's going to make it easier for you to confront the future, regardless of what you've discovered, come what may. Now, this may center around, your creative expression, your ways that you seek entertainment, traveling, could be your career, your social status. You are trying to get to the truth of a commitment and either move on or create some beneficial changes. But there is something about your situation where you're going to have to think more clearly. You're going to have to maintain a positive mindset for the communication to flow more smoothly, even if the words are not exactly what you want to hear. Because that Six of Swords says that there's something that's going to create some additional complications that are going to make your situation more challenging. Now, it may be centered around the joy of love or happiness in love, or your artistic creativity or your popularity, or whether there's been some wastefulness. And you have 2 tens here, so you're at the end of some kind of cycle where there could be some lasting gains or some lasting losses. There is a lack of sensitivity within this reading. There's a coldness, a cold situation where somebody may be devoid of emotion or where logic rules the day. There's a dilemma that's being faced, and there's some uncertainty about it, where you may not have all of the facts, you may not be sure of the outcome of a decision, you may have a problem making a decision, maybe you don't trust your intuition, or you fail to see something properly. But there is balance here. There's a call to action that's coupled with measured practicality to keep things in check. So there's some forward movement, some action, some responsibility. But there's also the possibility of self-sabotage. There's the desire, the energy to move forward, but then you start to talk yourself out of it. So you have movement and progression, but uncertainty as to how long this is going to sustain. And it's centered around communication, some challenges that connect to your career, your social status, and getting some clarity to repair or improve some aspect of your life with regard to your health, your work, or your domestic affairs. All right, Leo, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Let me know with your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. You can also support me on Patreon, join me on my blog for daily posts, on Instagram, and over at Vimeo.